Is it too loud?
No. Okay. Now you're set.
Hello. Welcome.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for wearing your masks in the proper way tonight. We really appreciate that. And welcome to all of you out there to our sacred time. Since we can't be in the same space, we're going to share this sacred time. And I think Cantor Fine is going to start with a nigun.
Yes, so join with us in a nigun mazel tov. Ya la 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 ya la ya la la ya la 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 ya la ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Try that with me. Ya la 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 ya la ya la la ya la 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 ya la ya la la ya la 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 ya la ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la ya la la ya la 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 ya la ya la la ya la 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 ya la ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 la.
Please join me on page 6. We enter this sanctuary in time to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in turn, come into this sanctuary of time, to affirm the sacredness of our lives. We may enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift up our hearts in prayer. And now I would like to welcome Matt Madlam to come up and do the candle lighting.
And who's Matt Madlam?
Just the most supportive, best rabbi-to-be's spouse ever.
So welcome.
I'm a fan.
I know.
Here you go.
I'll be signing autographs.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
Blessed are you. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen. Shabbat shalom. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you. Please join Cantor Fine on page 10 for Ma Yafe Hayom.
Ma Yafe Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafe Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafe Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafe Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
It is so fun to sing together.
Isn't it nice?
Oh, my heart is full. Let's continue on page 344 for Shir Hadash.
In the middle of the page. Shiro l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiro l'Adonai shir chadash. Shiro l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiro l'Adonai shir chadash. Sing unto God, all the earth, a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God, and we'll all sing along. All the earth, a new song unto God. Shiro l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiro, shiro l'Adonai shir chadash. I will sing unto God a new song.
And now we're on page 20 for Lecha Dodi, and we will do verses 1 to 5, and then we'll rise on 9 and face the doorway.
Join with us. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, hishmianu el ha'miyochad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet v'liteilah. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechovenelcha, ki mekor ha'averacha, merosh mikedem netucha. Sof ba'atei b'machshavat tehila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hiteoreri, Kiva orecho mi ori, ori, ori shidaberi, kivod Adonai alaik nigla, lekadoni likratala, bnei Shabbat nekabela, lekadoni likratala, bnei Shabbat nekabela. Boi ושלום עטרת מעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת עלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת עלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
Please be seated, and we will continue with Katsi Kaddish on page 26.
יתקדש ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
ויעמד יברח חילותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון ויומכון ובחיי דרכו בית ישראל בעגלה בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעמה ואמרו.
Amen.
We rise for the formal call to worship, page 28. Yai lai lai, ya la lai lai lai, yai la lai lai la lai lai. Oh yai lai lai, ya la lai lai lai, yai la lai lai la lai lai. Yai lai 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 la lai, yai lai 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 la lai, yai lai lai la lai lai. Ay ay bye 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 ay bye 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 ay lai 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 lai. Barechu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam vaed. Yai lai lai, ya la lai lai lai, yai la lai lai la lai lai. Oh yai lai lai, ya la lai lai lai, yai la lai lai la lai lai.
You can be seated. You can be seated. Sorry, I forget this is here. Apologize. As we reflect on the change from day to night, from ordinary to Shabbat, I invite you to reflect upon the ways that each of us can change and be part of change to help create a more holy and just world. Please join me on the middle of page 31. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Where shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, my sibling, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, my siblings, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim.
And we continue with Ahavat Olam, leading into Shema, at which point I invite you to rise as you prefer. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amecha Ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu lemadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, B'shochbeinu v'komeinu, Nasiach b'chukecha, V'nizmach b'divrei Toratcha, U'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, ubahem negeh yomam v'layla, ve'ahavatcha Atasir mimenu leolamim, Baruch ata Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malachuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malachuto Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. Please be seated. We continue with V'ahavta on the next page. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha Hayom al levavecha, Vishinantam levanecha, Vidibartam bam, Beshivtecha beveitecha, Uvlechtecha vaderech, Uvshochbecha uvkumecha, Ukshartam leot al yadecha, Vehayu letotafot bein einecha, Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, Uvisharecha, Leman tizkeru, Va'asitem et kol mitzvotai, Vitem kedoshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Before singing the Mi Chamocha, I would like us to reflect on the message of freedom. There's poignancy in this message on this weekend of Juneteenth. On June 19, 1865, federal troops arrived in Galveston, Texas, to ensure all enslaved people be freed. This important American holiday, recently recognized federally and in the state just this year, commemorates both the emancipation of enslaved Africans and African Americans and celebrates African American cultures. I invite you to reflect on what makes a person free. Is emancipation enough? What is needed for true freedom?
Page 40. Mi kamocha ba'alim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, nora tehilot osef eleh, nora tehilot osef eleh. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקי הים לפני משה ומרים. זה לי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי יפקד אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. And we're going to continue now with Hashkivenu with text on the top of page 43, the first two lines of this, along with the text of Hashkivenu on the previous page. So it goes back and forth just a little bit on 43 and 42. And our congregation has gotten used to this version by Noah Aronson. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu, L'shalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu, shalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Baruch atah Adonai, hapurei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. We join together on page 44 as we celebrate with Vishamru, the top of the page. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
I invite you now to rise and face east as we begin tefillah on pages 46 through 52.
Adonai svatai tiftach, Adonai svatai tiftach, ufi agid tehilatecha, ufi agid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Please be seated as we continue with tefillah on the top of page 55. And please join me. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. And on the top of page 57, Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu be'amcha Yisrael, utfilatam be'ahava tikabel, uti l'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha birya na'avod. As we prepare to recite our Modim prayer, our prayer of thanks, I was given the opportunity to share for what I'm so thankful. And I'm so thankful this Pride Month to my children and to their cousins who are teaching the world about what it means to love, respect, and celebrate all of our beautiful lives. And to my TBE family who are co-sponsoring Pride Shabbat in Seattle, hosting a booth at Tacoma Pride, and to Cantorfine, who is created an interfaith pride celebration. And so I invite you all to reflect on what you are especially thankful for, and please out on the online world, enter into the chat things that you're especially grateful for this week. And with thanks in mind, I invite you to look in your orders of worship on page 3, orders of worship. And you can just listen if you want. Permission to Shine, an affirmation to be who you want to be, by Devin Spear. You have permission to laugh until you can't speak, and to speak until you can't catch your breath. You have permission to fall in love with yourself, or to not know which self you really are today. You have permission to be curious, confused, clueless, and aimless. Yes, you have permission. The rainbow spirit inside of you has been lighting up the world ever since the day you were born. And you, in all your radiance, are worth being seen, however you want to be. And you can join me with the blessing at the end. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tselem Elohim. Blessed are you, God, our God, ruler of the universe, that created me in the image of God. And then we're just going to close our this section of thanking the one, and I invite you to join me in the middle of page 59 just for that little blessing at the end. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulecha na'eh lehodot. And on page 61, I'm going to do the reading at the bottom, and then Cantor Fine is going to sing. Don't stop after beating the swords into plowshares. Don't stop. Go on beating and make musical instruments out of them. Whoever wants to make war again will have to turn them into plowshares first.
Join me in the round of Lo Yisagoy. It begins with the word shalom, peace, and it goes like this. We'll sing it all the way through once, and then I invite you to continue and start at the beginning again, and I'm going to sing the other parts so that we can go back and forth. It goes like this. Shalom, shalom. That repeats. Shalom, shalom. The next part. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yomedu od milchamav, lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yomedu od milchamav. You start with shalom. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yomedu od milchama, lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yomedu od milchama. Shalom, 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 shalom.
Wow, that was beautiful. You did so well. Okay, I'm sorry, I got distracted by the music. So please take some time for silent prayer, and I invite you to look in your orders of worship. There's a psalm, a modern psalm called Clap Your Hands, All You Nations, a psalm for Juneteenth, and I invite you to reflect on that silently or the meditations of your heart, and then we will join all together on the bottom of page 62 with Cantor Fine.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
I have the great pleasure of inviting Jack Warnick up for a special birthday blessing.
Jack, why don't we do it down here? Come this way.
Have to go all the way
Yeah.
up.
Here. I got you.
You got it?
I got you.
Balance is everything.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Exactly. Here, you want to hold it here?
Yeah. You good? You're so welcome. So welcome. Okay.
You want me right here?
You're in a perfect place. You're exactly where you need to be. God of days and years, author of life, our times are in your hand. We thank you for the blessing of life and for all that enriches our lives. We gather today in special thankfulness to share in the happiness of our dear Jack. Be with him always as the joy of his life. May he be blessed with health and happiness and with the strength to overcome sickness and sorrow. May we have the joy of coming together for many more years, united by mutual reverence and love. Then our lives will be filled with the abundance of blessing. May you live to 120.
I'm almost there.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
getting close. Let's make it 150. Give
Okay,
me a chance,
why not?
okay?
Yeah. Okay. So,
And so, Jack, we honor you tonight, and you were such a blessing. You and Lily of blessed memory were two of the first people that we connected with here at the temple, and I remember going out for lunch with you and celebrating and laughing and sharing music and joy, and you have come and you have played piano for us, for our coffee house, remember before COVID? And all of those amazing things. And so for all the moments that you offer to us, we offer to you this blessing, the threefold benediction of the high priest. So if I'm going to open the ark, but you're going to just stay right here. I'm going to ask everyone to rise, and then we will say the blessing. We're going to come down for you. Okay. And you can face out. There you go. Okay. Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
may God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yuchoneka.
May God's light shine upon you, and may God be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Shalom.
May you feel God's presence within you always, and may you find peace.
Amen. Amen. we join together. Simin tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simin tov, simin tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simin tov, simin tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simin tov. Yehelanu, 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 oleko Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, oleko Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, oleko Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, oleko Yisrael. Mazel tov, Jack.
Thank you very much. Beautiful. Appreciate it.
You are welcome. Okay. Please be seated. Oh, thank you. Don't be seated. I got it. Thank you. Please be seated. You're welcome, Jeff. Okay.
So I invite you now to reflect on our communal and individual need for healing from the effects of violence, illness, and bigotry. We stand in grief with the devastated families all over the world. We weep over the incomprehensible loss of life. We cry out with shock, confusion, and pain. We mourn together over the senseless acts of violence and destruction. Be with us, God, in this time of sorrow and fear. Help us, God, to offer comfort to those whose hearts are shattered. Rekindle hope and trust and courage within us and them. Help us, God, to sustain our belief in the promise that even in the darkest of times, even when we feel most discouraged, there is reason to trust that love is never extinguished and that light and spirit will prevail. Help us, God, to rededicate ourselves to building a world that is safer for our children. Help us, God, to rededicate ourselves to building a world that is safer for all people. During these difficult times, these days and nights, God, bring comfort and peace and hope and light to a broken hearts and a broken world. And I invite you to join us on page 253 for Misha Berach. And those who are online to enter into the chat, those who especially need prayers for health and healing. And
Okay.
And I invite you to, I'll start here.
One of my Hebrew students, Melanie Alley, is the victim of a recent hostage-taking situation. And we all should wish her and hopefully everything else.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Judy Harris, Heather Harris, Katie Ortega, David Cohen, Wanda Cohen Doors, Judy Brickman, Tom Fox, Rick Sykes, Adam C., Anna Peters, Leonard Jim, Oscar Baker.
Thank you.
Karen is pointing it out.
Iris. Thank you.
Terry Shaw, Lawrence Ryan.
Thank you. Okay. All right.
Oh, just one more.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Frank Cater.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to add Bev Wolfers.
Okay.
Thank you. Join with us. Page 253. Misheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu the source of strength. Oh, bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
I invite you to rise. I'm sorry, what am I missing?
It's okay. Jim Pickering for the sermon.
Yes. Are we doing that next? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm out of order. It is my pleasure to invite Jim Pickering up to share some words of wisdom with us.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Cantor Fine and Rabbi Kabir Nina, for leading us this evening. And thank you, Jordan, for inviting me to speak at this super spreader event. No, don't panic. I'll explain in a bit why that's a good thing. This week's Torah portion is packed with action and incident. Just a simple summary of it would take up a half an hour. Up to this point, Numbers has justified its English name by being mostly about numbers and counting, census of peoples and tribes, and accounting for amounts of sacrifices to consecrate the new tabernacle. In this portion, however, the book begins to earn its Hebrew name, Bamidbar, in the wilderness. The children of Israel celebrate the first Egyptian Passover and once again go on the move, departing from Sinai, headed for the Promised Land. Immediately, trouble starts. The kids in the back seat begin to whine, "Are we there yet?" and asking to stop for fish, melons, cucumbers, leeks, onions, and garlic. Most strange requests for these children, since they have with them an ice cream dispenser that never runs out. Manna. Moses then complains to Adonai, who offers Moses help. Adonai has Moses gather 70 elders around the tent of meeting. There, Adonai takes some of the spirit that he has been putting on Moses and puts it on the 70 elders, who temporarily become prophets. 2 other men who had stayed in the camp and not gone to the tent of meeting, Eldad and Medad, also begin to prophesy. An unnamed lad runs to Moses. "Eldad and Medad are prophesying in the camp." Joshua cries out, "My Lord Moses, restrain them." Moses replies, "Are you jealous on my part? Would that all the Lord's people were prophets, that the Lord would place his spirit upon them." Thus, we come to this week's text. Would that all the Lord's people were prophets. So, we should all be prophets? What does that mean? What does it mean to be a prophet? The word we have taken from Greek seems to mean something like speak for, as in speak for the gods. The Hebrew word navi, according to Abraham Joshua Heschel, means someone who is called by Adonai, someone who is charged with delivering a message under the authority of Adonai. In Heschel's view, prophets are relaying to the people the divine pathos, the suffering Adonai experiences because of humanity's refusal to walk in Adonai's ways. We have a covenant with Adonai, an unbreakable pledge of faithfulness, an eternal promise between Adonai and ourselves. When we fail to live up to our commitments to live as Adonai has formed us and wishes us to do, it disappoints him, pains him for our failures, angers him at the wrong we do to those around us. We have the capacity to do so much better, but choose not to do the right things. Our willful disobedience of Adonai's word in the service of evil causes Adonai to suffer. Heschel writes, "The task of the prophet is to convey the word of God, yet the word is aglow with the pathos. One cannot understand the word without sensing its pathos." He says further, "It is not a world devoid of meaning that evokes the prophet's consternation, but a world deaf to meaning." The prophet's task is to open our eyes to Adonai's commandments and to show us how far we fall short in doing our duties. But haven't prophets been personally touched by Adonai to experience the Eternal's pathos? How can we be prophets? Have we been touched? Yes, the answer is yes. Every morning we pray, She'asani b'Tselem Elohim, who made me in the image of God. We have within us a spark of Adonai, the Spirit breathed into us each day. How else to account for the mystery of consciousness arising from the chemical soup contained in these flexible bags of mush we call bodies? How else to recognize the origin of that conscience that whispers in our mind trying to tell us to do right, not wrong? Elijah heard the voice of the Eternal not in the windstorm that rent the rocks, nor the earthquake that shook the mountain, nor the fire that raged around him. He heard it in the whispers that followed in the stillness. We hear those same whispers, though we stand on no mountain. Even in situations where determining the morally correct action is difficult and complex, we still have the innate internal feeling that making a right choice is possible and important. In this week's Haftorah, Zechariah tells us, "Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, says the Lord of hosts, will mountains be leveled into plains." We have that Spirit within us. We just have to recognize it and let it animate our actions. The experience of the last couple of years of the pandemic may give us a metaphor in a reverse sort of way. Adonai breathes into us. As that happens, we take in a divine virus that would have us act in virtuous ways. Certain people seem to have a natural immunity to the virus. Amalek, Haman, so on. Some people, like the prophets of old, get a high viral load and have severe reactions. Heschel writes of them, "The prophet's words are outbursts of violent emotions. His rebuke is harsh and relentless. But if such deep sensitivity to evil is to be called hysterical, what name should be given to the abysmal indifference to evil which the prophet bewails? His images must not shine, they must burn." Most of us fall somewhere in between the two extremes, some more affected by the divine virus and some less. Just as we have learned from the COVID-19 vaccine, efficacy can be enhanced by boosters. And so we are here this Shabbat to get a booster, not of a vaccine, but of a virus. We want Adonai to cough in our faces and breathe all over us. And we don't even need to drop our physical masks because they cannot filter out the divine virus. Getting together on Shabbat to pray and sing should be a super spreader event with Adonai's Spirit wafting through the air, filling our lungs, swelling our hearts, and affecting our brains. We want an increase in our spirit virus so we become more aware of injustice, inequality, and just plain meanness. Our compassion quotient needs to rise. We should keenly feel our own pathos, our own pain at not doing our best to fulfill the most basic rule of the covenant, to care for those around us. The last couple of quotes from Heschel to guide us. Quote, "Above all, the prophets remind us of the moral state of a people. Few are guilty, but all are responsible. And biblical religion is not what man does with his solitariness, but rather what man does with God's concern for all men. Compassion is the divine virus, and as prospective minor prophets, we are all called to act upon it. We are responsible for the moral state of our communities. We are called to speak out and act as we are able. Our task is to stimulate and strengthen the divine virus within ourselves and others. There are no stronger proofs for the existence of Adonai except for the acts of righteous people. Reach out from a swollen, virus-infected heart and be a witness to that existence. We must have the courage to care. Kazak, Kazak, Venit Kazak. Be strong, and may we be strengthened.
Yasher Koach. Thank you, Jim. Very powerful.
Wow, thank you so much. It was really powerful. And now I'd like to invite up Vivian Morrison to share some words about what's happening, make some announcements.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you to Matt for lighting our candles, and Nina for being here tonight, and our cantor, and Debbie on the piano, and I think it's Jordan back there, and Sean out front, taking care of us in many ways. Our services continue tomorrow. All services will be online. The Torah study from 9 to 9:45. Services begin at 10 and Havdalah at 7:30. Coming events. Music of Remembrance continues their concert For a Look or a Touch. And it continues till the end of the month, and it is online. The composers are Jake Heggie and Gene Scherer, and the title comes from the Nazi German penal code that made an affectionate glance or a caress between two men a reason for arrest. The Temple hikers will be hiking this Sunday. They're going to Greenwater Lakes Trail. You can either meet at the Temple at 8 a.m. or at the trailhead at 9:30. Please RSVP to David Wheeler. Bring a lunch, water, hiking poles, and you might need some rain gear. But you can check the weather online. You can get all kinds of information about the hike online. The Anti-Defamation League has a presentation about Anne Frank. This is for students. It'll be available this coming Wednesday, June 22nd, from 1 to 2 in the afternoon. It's called Anne Frank Tour of the Secret Annex, and the registration link is found on the Shabbat Shalom. The students, when they see this presentation, are prepared to read the diary of Anne Frank. The Pride Shabbat is Friday. Our Pride Shabbat is Friday, and everybody's Pride Shabbat is Friday.
So Pride Shabbat in Seattle is next June 24th.
24th, yeah. And also in Seattle. So
it is in Seattle, and we
Yeah.
are one of the sponsors of that Shabbat in Seattle.
So our doors open at 5:30. Services begin at 6, following by an Oneg Shabbat. Please register through the link on the Shabbat Shalom, and COVID protocol will be followed. Save the dates. 8 Northwest Community Meeting is Wednesday, July 20th. Dr. Yael Shacher is the Deputy Director of Refugees International in the Americas and Europe, will be speaking on asylum. She has written a book entitled MPP Title 22 as a Microcosm, What is Wrong with Asylum at the Border and How to Fix It. To register, please contact the office volunteer at 8norwest.org. In July, the Temple hikers will be going to a hike near Paradise on Mount Rainier. And the same type of situation, meet here at the Temple at 8 a.m. They don't know exactly where they're going because of all the snow that's still up on Mount Rainier, but I'm sure a lot more information will follow. The Home of Peace annual cemetery cleanup is also on the 24th of July from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Contact David Aqua for information. We are attempting to organize a demonstration against all the gun violence that is going on, and we have set a tentative date of August 14th. We are still in the process of putting this together. I have met with someone at St. Mark's Lutheran. I have met with David Wright of University of Puget Sound, and he is very interested and very helpful in helping us put this together. And he has called several churches to participate as well. And more information will follow. A woman named Cindy Johnson works with high school exchange students, and there is a 16-year-old Ukrainian girl named Luba who was an exchange student this year. She is from the Ukraine, and so she cannot go home. So they're looking for a host family for her for this year. And if you know anyone who would like to host this child, please get in touch with Cindy Johnson. All her information is available through the Shabbat Shalom. We are also coordinating with the Slavic Center. Our Temple Bethel member Laura Cooper has been in touch with Olga, who is at the Slavic Center, and she got in touch with us also. They need all kinds of basic needs. I mean, they just need everything. Personal hygiene needs, cleaning needs, things for the kitchen, for the bathroom, for the bedroom. So we would like to encourage people. You can donate monetarily, sending a check into the office labeled for the Slavic Center, or to buy things, you know, oven mitts, kitchen towels. I mean, just about anything that you would like to purchase that would be helpful to them. And during July, to bring those donations in, just like we do for the holiday food donations, do the same thing. You know, if you're able to, you know, a big box of paper towels, whatever, to bring that into when you're coming to Shabbat services on a Friday night, to bring in those donations as well. And they'll be happy for anything. I mean, they're just looking forward to just about anything that they can get. Volunteers are needed for the Tacoma Pride booth on July 9th from 12 to 6. The contact is our own Cantor Fine to help set up, to bring down, to talk about Judaism, to meet with other people in the Pride groups. So if you'd like to volunteer, contact
We have 5
the
so
Cantor.
far. 5 so far.
Volunteers continue to be needed for the tech team. Contact Jordan Harris or Aaron Peterson if you would like to learn. Training is available. Okay, local history buff, Deb Friedman, and in coordination with Harold Friedman, have published Tacoma Shul, Talmud Torah, Sinai Temple. Those books are available here through our gift shop or online through Amazon, and it documents Jews in Tacoma from 1892 to 1960. One more item. The board meeting is this Tuesday, and everybody is welcome to attend. It will be both in person and online. And a lot will be talking about the budget, so if you're interested in the budget, and the goal is for the board to be very transparent, please try to attend. And you need to register, call the office, whether you'll be here in person or to get the Zoom link. That's it. Thank you very much.
Shabbat Shalom. Thanks, Vivian.
Can I just say one thing?
Sure.
Hosting a student is a very rewarding experience, so I highly encourage you to look into it.
Thank you.
And now we get to continue with concluding prayers. So we're going to be on page 282 and 287. I invite you to rise.
Please rise as the ark is opened. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Please be seated.
I invite you to join me on page 290. Why should I wish to see God better than this day? I see something of God in each hour of the 24, and each moment then, in the faces of men and women and humanity, I see God. And in my own face in the glass, I find letters from God dropped in the street, and every one is signed by God's name. And I leave them where they are, for I know that soe'er I go, others will punctually come forever and ever. So as we prepare for Martyr's Kaddish, I invite those who are in the period of Shiva or Shloshim from our community: Hazel Henderson, stepmother of Josh Kay; Donna J. Smith Bamford, mother of Matt Parent and mother-in-law of Tara Hurst. To them we say as a community, Hamakom Yinechem Etchem Betoch Sha'ar Avelei Tzion V'Rushalayim. I invite those who are observing a yard site or whose practice it is to rise in solidarity with mourners, or rising for those who have no one to rise for them. In our community, we are remembering Sophie Baker, Ruby Burnett, Roger Coatney, Jacob Cohen, Reagan Curran, Nathan Friedman, Herb Gelman, Robert Grenley, Julius Harris, Mary Herstein, Philip Hubbard, Irma Lubin, Seymour Mann, Lucille Miller, Lily Polikoff, Harvey Post, Florence Robinson, Max Rosen, Henry Rosenberg, Arthur S. Rosengard, Zelda Salk, Sam Seinfeld, Lester Seinfeld, Jack Harry Shannon, Harry Stamison, George E. Ward, Hallam P. Whitworth, Claude Wahlberg. And together on page 294. Yit Gadol Vit Kadash Me Rabbah, Be'alma Divrach Yute V'almich Mahute, B'chayechon Uve'echon U'chaye Dechol Beit Israel, Ba'gala Uzman Kari V'imru Amen. Yehe Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Leolam Olmei Almaya, Yit Barach V'ishtabach V'itpa'ar V'itromam V'itnaseh, Vitadar, vitele, vitalal, shmeid kudisha brichu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiram be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'akol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'akol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing.
Please be
And be
seated.
seated. And thank you to everyone who helped tonight to make this special Shabbat together. And thank you, Jim, for a really powerful sermon. And thank you, Vivian, for sharing how amazingly busy and involved our community is. And for Jack, for sharing your birthday with us. Thank you so much. And Sean, who's doing security, and Jordan, thank you so much. We did it. And to Debbie, of course, thank you so much. And to Cantor Fine, and to everybody for being here
And I'm
tonight.
just going to add to Matt, who,
Oh, I'm so-
of course, I always forget my husband too. And to you, thank you so much. Nina, you may not know, helped during COVID for 2.5 years, and we did these services all online. This is her first service in person, and so mazel tov, and a beautiful, beautiful job. So we're going to conclude this evening on page 327, followed by Kiddush Motzi, and I believe an oneg honoring Jack for a short time in our social hall. We're on page 327. This is the Sephardic Ein Kelohenu with Ladino and Hebrew text. Join with us. Ein Kelohenu, ein Kadonenu, ein Kemalkeinu, ein Kemoshienu, non como nuestro Dios, non como nuestro Señor, non como nuestro Rey, non como nuestro Salvador. Mi Eloheinu, mi Adonenu, mi Malkeinu, mi Moshienu, ¿quién como nuestro Dios? ¿Quién como nuestro Señor? ¿Quién como nuestro Rey? ¿Quién como nuestro Salvador? No del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Malkeinu, no del Moshienu. Lo haremos a nuestro Dios, lo haremos a nuestro Señor, lo haremos a nuestro Rey, lo haremos a nuestro Salvador. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Bendito nuestro Dios, bendito nuestro Señor, bendito nuestro Rey, bendito nuestro Salvador. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. Tu sos nuestro Dios, tu sos nuestro Señor, tu sos nuestro Rey, tu sos nuestro Salvador. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So please join us with Kiddush on page 5 as we raise our cups, and please rise. Page 5. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit. Ki hu yom tehila lemikra kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Ki banu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava u'ratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-shabbat l'chaim. And our key.
It's been a while.
And our motzi, we join together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, b'te'avon, a good meal. Shabbat shalom. Please join us.
Shabbat shalom.
And help yourselves to some challah on the way out as well. Okay. Shabbat shalom. And do wish each other a good Shabbos. It's so wonderful to see so many in person and online. Shabbat